Now I'm going to start by putting in the white. Working on the principle of light to dark. Now there's just a very faint trace of white along here. This is why I put a double line on this, and you'll have yours as well. And a little bit of light just there. Okay, now everywhere else is going to have the white mouth, and the mouth is open, which makes it more difficult for us, but I like a challenge. Now the fact that we've got a lot of blue on that really won't matter, because we're going to put colour in it, and this is the only area that we've got just a tiny little problem, because we've got white and white here. We don't really want a hard line there. So what I suggest you do is to get rid of that as much as we can. There we are. Much fainter now. All the other lines, or most of the other lines, are going to work out okay, but that one won't be. Now on the top it's really strong, so let's just do the top half of that first. There. Right. And down the bottom it's got a little bit of shadow on it. So what we'll do with that is won't make that quite so quite so strong. If you leave the line there, like I've done, we'll be able to use it. Now, the line here will be the dark fin behind. Are you with me? Now that is a shadow. It looks though as though it's a dark marking, but it isn't. It's a shadow. Well, it could be. It could be actually a marking coming from here. And what am I going to do about it? I think I will actually assume that it's the dark marking, rather than the shadow. Sometimes it's difficult to see, and that's what we'll do anyway. Okay. Now inside here, this is nice and strong. And this is nice and strong. Leave those lines for the moment, we'll use them. And this is where there's a shadow. And this time it is a shadow there. So we'll fill this in, because that's really there you go. And what we'll do about this, well, we've still got to put white in, but like I say, don't make it quite so strong. With me? So we've got a nice strong white here, and just there a weaker, and that's a shadow in there, which again will be weaker. What I would do immediately now is to put the grey on, and I'm going to use this one. Now this is the 233 we'll be using in a minute for creating the base colour for the dark, the black. But for the moment I'm going to put this on. I'm just wondering whether I might need to take some of that line off. See, the problem with the lines, when you've got white, the problem with lines is you don't want them to be too pronounced. That's a bit better. Start again. And this is shadow. I'll make a bit more scent of that a little later on. And around here we've got some teeth. Now the teeth, I don't think these are teeth. The teeth actually are here. So let's just put, again, using the 233, and put some teeth in. I'm not saying very much, folks, because I'm concentrating, but I'm hoping that you're picking up what I'm doing. Those are the teeth. We may be able to make those a little bit more obvious as time goes on, but I'll just make sure that that's really strong. Shadow in there. And there. Oh, right. Now, what we're going to do now is put some shadow in here. Same idea. I'm using grey, but I'm going to put another colour on that in a minute. Let's just complete this area. You'll see, makes sense to you. This is the most complicated of the white areas. So, yeah, that's why I'm starting with it. That's nice and solid. And this is where we have the shadow. It might pay us here to just blend that out using the colour shaper. Here we are. The reason I'm blending it is because we'll be putting the grey on, and I don't want it to give us a false reading. Right. Now the colour I'm going to be using, I'm going to try this. This is a bit of an experiment. I'm going to use the 102. It's a sort of a yellowy tone. And I could see it in here. That's why I've elected to use it. And on top of that, I'm also going to use the other green that I used in the water. Here we are, 153. Just a spot. Don't put this on too strong because it will spread like wildfire. But I think the combination of those three colours should look rather nice. See how little I put on there. Okay, let's see what we can do when we blend. Oh, that's nice. Now, because I've got it on the colour shaper, we can just put a little bit on there to Right. And when you do that, you can also put the white back on top. Now, you've seen me do this before with boats and buildings and so on. And again, it works really well because you get that softness. Now, that's not bad. I think what we'll do, we'll make it a little stronger than that, but maybe I can do it in here too. And also in there, we need the 181. Now, I haven't used 181 anyway yet, but I will be doing that. It'll be going on to the whale. But this will give me a little bit more definition. .181 is always the best choice with something like that because you're working on blues. There you go. Now inside there it's quite dark, but obviously that's the darkest section. So as we come forward, we line it up a little bit more, slightly lighter touch. If you've got one of these, time to use it. If you haven't got one of these, a pointed colour shaper or the corner of one of these would do. But this is a very soft colour shaper, and it will give me a softer blend of colour. See how that's working in there? I've still got to come back in here with white in a minute too, and I'm going to have to darken it a bit more too. But you see how the colour shaper creates a much smoother look. A little bit more depth. Right, back with my 102 now, just to put a little spot of colour here and there. This is going to be darker. 233. Once you get the idea, it's then much easier to be bold. You can see that that's going to have to be a little darker than there. So 233, 153, spot of the 102. Doesn't matter which order you put this in. I just think that looks better. And just a little spot there of 181, just to make that just a little stronger. Right. And finally, we want some more white in there. Nice sharp white. And we've got a better white than that. I want a sharper one, but I haven't got one. Well, what I'll do is I'll sharpen one up in a minute. And we'll diffuse that line a little bit there. There you go. That's not bad at all. Right. Now let me just see if we can put a little bit more white in here as well. I was just wondering whether I can do any more with those teeth. Got to put something in there. I don't want to bring too many colours in, so I think what we'll do is we'll try 181 just to indicate. I mean, ideally they'd be white, but you can't put white on top of white. It don't register. Well, but what we're going to need to do is to put the dark on, because until we see the contrast, it's virtually impossible to finish this off, so we may have to return to it. But it's not bad. It's not bad at all. I think if I'm being fussy, I'd probably put a little spot of white back in here. The trouble is, though, I'm going into the blue. I don't want to do that. Well, that'll give me a chance to show you how we can get out of that. If you do what I've done there, you're probably better to use the 140. Just put a bit of blue back, like that. You can always use a colour shaper, or there you go, that quick repair job. What was I doing? White. I was putting white on, because we're going to put some very dark colour on here. It may pay us to make that a little lighter there. Well, that's probably going to look a lot better than I think it will as we progress, but let me just do a little tidying up. And then we'll put some dark on.